Yo guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another weekly forecast. And before we get started, we're going to start off on Forex Factory because, it's usually quite quiet on this page these days due to the government shutdown. But here we are, we actually got some penciled in data, which is CPI on Friday. It's a bit weird, isn't it? But yeah, last week absolutely dry in terms of news events. This week, CPI on Friday. So Thursday's going to be avoided. Friday's going to be the main day for the week, I think. We'll see what Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday brings, but the day prior CPI we just avoid usual shenanigans. Let me just hook my mic up 1 second. But without further ado, let's just jump straight into the charts. Let's remove some of these good old indicators and let's zoom in. Right, we're going to start off with NQ first. I think that's appropriate, and then we'll switch over to gold because I do see some interesting things happening with gold, and I'm ready to sort of give my input on gold now. Feel a bit more confident with it. Happy to go back into it. Right, so let's start off with the NQ. So if we can have a look and we can see that last week, absolute consolidation fest in a way, you could say. Monday to Friday was inside the range of the prior week. From prior week high, prior week low. And this is what happens most of the time, right? They'll have some big move, yeah, and then a lot of the time the week after is usually a high resistance week because the week prior has induced so much sort of liquidity in a way, and people want to jump on the move. They think, oh my gosh, this thing is going to go, start falling. Let's get in the next week. We'll get involved on the pullback. We're going to make some money. It wakes people up, but then it turns out that that week after is just absolutely slow. Yes, obviously the government shutdown does not help this sort of price action, and that's obviously what happened. Is obviously just like seek and destroy. You can see highs and lows have been taken, highs and lows have been taken, highs and lows, and this is exactly why I'm sure you might have seen on my Telegram, right? Why I'm marking these prior daily highs and lows. It's basically where if the sort of kind of refers back to, right? So if I start off like this, we've got a prior weekly high there and a prior weekly low. On a weekly basis, this is where, if the will sort, that's prior monthly without, this is where price action will sort of navigate to once we've cleared this fair value gap. This is the daily fair value gap I was watching to see, as long as price stays below this, we should revert back towards the prior week low. We almost got that here on this drop here. You can see this massive wick, right? But then what happened is that price towards the lunch session ended up closing back above, and that was just for a closing basis. And you can see that price is now closed above this daily BISI or daily fair value gap here. It was inverted here into a bearish one, and now it's closed back above. So this should hold as support. So this is what we're seeing now. So the fact that we have, let's just do. It's not prior weekly high because this is a prior weekly high now. And then let's just sort of get this all in sync because I've just jumped onto the other charts. And then this has now become the prior weekly low, right? Because it's below the weekly open. And this is something that I wanted to also mention. There's so many things that I want to mention, but the weekly open gap, a lot of people are saying that, will price sort of come back to that? If you mark up the week, where it closed on Friday and then where it opened last Monday, and just drag that across, so you can see any time price tapped into it would have been a good point of interest to sort of monitor, see if you get any reversals. We got a reversal here. Obviously, I missed this move. We ended up taking the sell from here, ended up seeing that the price dropped from there on the PM session. And then what happened after is price sort of dropped here. Notice the bodies failed to close below this wick, which shows that it was just a liquidity collection, and then price sort of came back up and then just started pushing up higher. And it was around this area where we started to see that sort of chop on Friday, and we ended up getting like that manipulation move, and then price ended up closing back above that daily fair value gap. Now, if you look at this range here from prior weekly high to prior weekly low, now this is the range I'll be using at the start of the week. I have a feeling that it may rip through it very quickly in where price is at the moment. I have a feeling that as long as price stays above this area, we are going to quickly navigate towards the prior weekly high at the start of the week, right? Because Friday is quite a long way away in terms of CPI. I have a feeling that maybe the liquidity may be engineered for the buy side. Hopefully, look at these highs on the left. These are relatively equal. So if price stays above the prior weekly high, we should navigate towards the, I'm just going to write the Trump high because I don't have the weekly range, so I don't know which week it is. let's just do Trump high, right? So as long as price stays above this here, then you're likely to see price navigate towards the Trump high, right? If price consolidates in this range here for all the way up until Friday and stays above here, then you're likely to see the CPI will push above Trump's high. Now, people are saying that, oh my gosh, what about this low, man? Like, we didn't come back to this low. We just retraced into this. How are we going back up to the high? Like, what happened to premium discount? How come that doesn't work? Like, if I do premium discount, right, and put PD array on, you can see that price is in premium. How come we have to buy when price is in a premium? But this is just it. Like, order flow is now flipped to bullish. So if order flow is flipped to bullish, you're not expecting people to get in sells here for price to fall back down. If order flow is bullish, right, then you're expecting for price to get to the next high and take out the liquidity that's sitting above this high, above Trump's high. So, and this is what I teach multiple times by saying that, look at this, the original consolidation, price immediately dropped. Let's say you got the smart money reversal here. This is just a high resistance version of the right side of the curve. The left side of the curve is instant, right? You can see, look, straight down, right? And say like this is now flipping into a bullish market structure. This can be saying that this is a market maker, bullish market maker buy model, right? For price to start attacking the highs, and then if price consolidates above the prior weekly high and stays above that, then this will be a reaccumulation for price to continue attacking that high there. So that's just as simple as that, and then price will take out that, and that's that market maker model done. And then we potentially look for 25,500. So this is how I sort of break down the market and start looking at that. But there's one more thing I do want to share with you. And although, yes, we have the prior weekly highs and lows marked, also try to mark out the prior daily highs and lows, because you'd be able to see how many times last week we took out the daily high and reverted to the daily low, or took out the low and then reverted to the high. I think this was one of them, where on Tuesday price took out the low. Oh my gosh, that is the worst drawing ever. Price took out the low here, right? And where did it go? It pushed above the prior weekly high and then kind of closed back in. I think that was the move, but you get the idea, right? I think Friday definitely did something like that. So it took out the low here and then took out the Tuesday low, and then price immediately started reversing and then started pushing above that daily fair value for the close. So I'll just leave you with that. But now time to get into the real source here. One thing I did want to use was this premium array right here. So what we have is if we use a bullish dealing range here. So we have this premium wick on the daily, right, where we're going to be monitoring to see how this wick performs. And this is the quadrant levels for this wick. You can see that price is still below that 50%. If you start seeing, the candles start closing above this 50% level, then we can see that price is not as bearish as may seem. And then you might easily get like a quick move towards the prior weekly high. And if we stay above that, then we're likely to use that as support to continue moving up. And then we also have this fair value gap on the left. But notice how I'm not utilizing that just yet. I'm utilizing this one because price has used it and we know that it's been working. And you can see it's used it as support here. So I only use PD arrays that I know if that is referring to. You can use like these fair value gaps in the like that have just printed, but you don't know if they will hold because it's the first time the price is going into them. So you can see here in this scenario, you can see there's a we tapped it, we pushed up, we tapped it again, we pushed up, and then when we broke down, we used it as resistance. Look, we tapped it, we pushed down, we tapped it, we pushed down, pushed down, pushed down. So this is a very key PD array to use going forward. So I'm going to keep this in my chart, see how that goes, and then obviously once I drop down into the 1 hour time frame, you can see that we're sort of getting a market maker model on the low time frame. As you can see here, look, original consolidation, price pushes down, and then where's price going? Oh, it's going back up to the original consolidation. Interesting. Right, this is like a full-on like V-shaped reversal. So I believe Monday, Tuesday, see how price action performs. If we end up getting a smaller time frame market maker buy model, that'd be great to start attacking that prior weekly high to start of the week, and then we see where we are. But yeah, Trump's high, keep an eye on that. If price starts pushing back below this daily fair value and will close below, then yeah, I think inevitably we're just going to attack Trump's low and the prior weekly low, and then fill in this gap fully, and then start looking at further sell side if required. But for now, we take it step by step. Right, that's it for NQ, man. Let's switch over to gold, because I know a lot of people may have just skipped to this point right here. If you're one of them, just leave a like because I caught you. But anyway, let's jump out here. So I marked out these levels, and this is what I was sharing on my channel by saying mark out these price levels, right? Because look where prices immediately drop back down to 4,200, and it failed to get above 4.4. Doesn't mean that it's not going to go back there. I have a strong feeling that it will get back there now, because we were so close to 4,400, and look, we created like a relatively equal highs here, and then prices immediately give us that retracement on Friday, which was expected, because what happened from Monday, which is down here, it's the same week, that's crazy. Monday, which is down here, right? This is the weekly range, simple as that. Price opened right here, and then went up to there. That was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then what did Friday do? Come back. And this is what's going to be interesting, right? If I mark the low to the high here on this impulse for the week, whack on that PD, and then we just like remove this box now. Look at where price came back to, 50% of the range. It's crazy, right? So this is what you have to anticipate. You know that, oh my gosh, price is running away from me. Don't just, you can get involved obviously if you're brave enough to do that and you have the risk to do that. But just wait for the retracements. Price will eventually pull back. It doesn't just go up straight in a straight line. You get these pullbacks, and it's on these pullbacks that you need to sort of capitalize on and say that, look, right, market is very bullish. I'm not expecting lows to be broken because it's very bullish. Like, you can't expect, you know, say for example, I was looking at this on the weekend. Look at this gap here, right? Like, price failed to fill this gap. But a lot of people, I have a feeling, we're watching this gap and we're waiting for price to just tap into that. Oh, maybe one more candle. But look above it, there's another gap here, and you can see that price used that. And again, there was SMT on silver, so you'll be able to notice that as well. That price is about to reverse, keep an eye on it. And then what happened is that price immediately started running towards the upside and left gap, gap, gap. We did have a tap here on Friday with another gap here. So we're gonna monitor, maybe Monday might just go and give us another straight impulse without letting us in. So keep an eye on that. So I'm definitely gonna mark this as a daily fair value gap here. And watch that. You also have a daily fair value gap down here as well, which is going to be key. That you just want to watch. And daily fair value gap here. So there's plenty levels to sort of monitor on the higher time frame. Now when you go into the 1 hour, you can see that, okay, look, price is tapped into that daily fair value gap, right? We've got equal highs at the top here. And we've also got that, I think that volume imbalance, which I marked up, and you can see that was a Friday's move. And I did want to kind of go into Friday's move. I'm not sure if I'll have some time, but let me do the forecast first, and I'll show you about how I sort of navigated around Friday's price action. So you can see here, price, as it got into this sort of bullish order block here, we have this sort of down close candle. You could say that, is it a breakout? Maybe, maybe not. But you can see we had a low here, and then we had a high. And then this price is using in here. Okay, so, right, so at the moment, we've created this low. So if we first off, this is the easiest way, right? If we mark out the prior weekly high and prior weekly low, and again, not saying that the prior weekly low will be met, but it was just good to have on the chart. So let's do that there. And let's do that as on the buy side, isn't it? So if I do this to prior weekly low, and I do this as prior weekly high, let's just drop down to the time frames again. Right, where are we? Oh, geez, that line is quite long. Bring that across. I'll bring that across. Right, so this is our range that we're watching. Right, now we are at 50% of this range at the moment. So I have a feeling that price may want to come back more into towards discount if that's possible. If price stays bearish, and the PD array that I will be utilizing for that is this sort of bearish, big fat bearish candle right here, right? We did have a candle that broke the Asia low, which is this candle here at 9 o'clock. And you can see that there is a tiny imbalance, which is right here. This was the candle that broke the Thursday low. Is that PDL? No, it's not. Thursday's Friday low. Thursday was quite a big day, wasn't it? That's Thursday's low. You can see that PDL was breached, and look at that. This is one thing I did want to mention as well, that on Friday price took out the prior daily low. Look at those bodies, man. Price just immediately took out liquidity and came back up. That's exactly how you know that price was meant to go and target that, and then immediately reverse back. That was its target for the day. So if I do this as a bearish PD, and I'm going to write a TBL here, because this was the candle that broke the Asia low, and I'm going to show you that. Let's put it on my little time cycles on the 15. You can see that this is the Asia range. Price immediately pushed back up here, pulled back down, and then once price started to close back below some, bullish PD arrays, which we anticipated for price to hold above. This one is key. You can see that price closed below it and then used it as support, resistance. This is actual support and resistance here. Used it as resistance, and then where did price go? Pushed all the way down, broke below Asia's low, and then created this time-based liquidity level, right? So on the 1 hour time frame, we have a time-based liquidity level, which I want to watch. We want to see that price stays below this level here if price is still bearish. So I'm going to see if price can go up to there and start turning around. Then we start attacking what? Friday's low, right? So we have another low to start targeting. Why are we targeting the lows? Because price action is still bearish. It's showing us that PD arrays are still holding as resistance on the left side of the curve, right? So you can see that on the list is the left side of the curve, and we're currently in the right? If price sort of still uses that, then this is still classed as one big left side of the curve because price action is still falling lower. It's only when price flips then we anticipate that, okay, this is now the right side of the curve. It should start using this as support, 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 and then that's the right side. So I hope that sort of makes sense to you. But right now, at the moment, yes, I'm going to be monitoring this time-based liquidity level to see what price does from here. If we close above it, then you can see that if we utilize that as support, and for price to start attacking that prior weekly high and start getting back above 4,300. So that's pretty much it on gold. I hope that gives you more insight. But yeah, I will be started to look into gold a bit more this week. It's going to be quite interesting to see what we can do. Price has given us that pullback, but in terms of where we're expecting price to head, we got 4,400, 4,500. We've got a pretty long way till 5,000. So if you guys are not involved on this move, that's time to get back involved in this, although we're a little late. Don't be afraid by thinking that, oh my gosh, man, price has gone so high, it's too scary to buy here. Just stay on can't even speak. Stay in line with the order flow, and then hopefully you'll be able to at least catch something, more wins than losses, because price action is still bullish. So because of these equal highs, yeah, definitely expecting for price to get back up there. Definitely a market maker model that's for incoming soon. So I'm going to be watching this going into next week, and that's why I'm having a look at gold. Definitely look at S&T with silver and see if you can see any sort of discrepancies there, because now that silver's sort of broken out, I do see that it's sort of kind of trading in correlation with gold at times. But that's pretty much it. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it there. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to leave a like, comment on anything that you've learned or any key information that I've given you. But other than that, happy trading going into next week. Hope you had a good week. And yeah, links are all in the description if you made it this far. Thank you guys. It's been a Waste FX. Peace out.